location shooting at a real client, and we're doing a head-to-head competition between the R5 and the FX9. And I'm gonna see which one looks the better on skin tone, contrast, dynamic range. And this is what we call a real-world test. Not about specifications, it's about what the image looks like. Look at that, the double, huh? Yeah, that's right, you guys enjoy that. Don't forget to like and subscribe so we can bring you more cool stuff. Well, we just got done doing a setup. We took some photographs and we're going head to head with the Canon 5D Mark III to the Canon R5. 10 years of difference. And I'm gonna have my opinions on this later, but here you go. Head to head, real world shoot. But now, it's lunch. All right, well, we're back at the studio. As you can see, we're on a real live shoot that we were doing with a real client. Testing the camera out with still photography and also with video. We mounted the camera, as you saw, right on top of the FX9, and now it comes my favorite time is the pixel pop time. They're like, let's get in there and really see. I know you guys are geeking out with us too, because there's a lot of you on the couch or in your office right now thinking the same thing we're thinking, like, hey man, what's better? Where it's going? So Ron, what's your first impressions of it?
I'm gonna have to say that the R5 is, for the camera that it is, it's like a small DSLR style camera. It looks really good. I mean, really good. Like it has, the FX9, it gives a run for its money, I would say.
I would say so too. So let's go through some of the scenes we had. So the first scene of this video that we had, and this is just B-roll of somebody walking into the office and kind of like, meet and greet. You guys all know how this is. This shot's been done a million times, a million different doctors' offices. But let's go ahead and just roll it. So what we're seeing now is the FX9 right here. And I think it's important, if you want to point out, it looks great, but the magenta fringing right there, you can see the highlight roll off there. And now it's a Sigma lens on there. And you got to remember that the Canon is new tech, man. R5 with an R lens on it with 24-105R. So it's 100% brand new tech all the way around with the R5. So now let's go click that off. And then here's the other one. Now you see where we had the fringing happening with that lens. And it's the same shot. Remember, we mounted the cameras right on top of each other, so it's the exact same scene.
You see absolutely no fringing. I mean, it's smooth looking. There's no gradation there happening at all. And now people go to the next question you're probably asking yourselves at home is, well, what, do you shoot S-Log, S-Cinetone? No, we shot Cinetone on the Canon and S-Log in a few shots, but it was raw on the Canon and it was standard gamma. And same thing with the Sony. We shot Sony Cinetone on 90% of the shots. There's a couple of log, but it's not in this particular way, in this particular cut. So right now, I think the important thing is to, what comes out of the camera faster? Like, it's important. Are you gonna spend your time really trying to bake that look in and go to color correct and go to DaVinci? That's fine if it's your hobby, but this is our job. We gotta turn these things around, and I think the faster we can get a decent look. Yeah, the better in camera. If you can get it in camera, the closest in camera you can get, the better, because that's gonna just save you time in the edit. If you want to spend, 20 hours on a color grade, that's great, if you're doing like a movie or whatever, but if you're doing like corporate, commercial gigs, you kind of want to turn it out. What I want to say about this is that the Sony is shooting in 4K and the Canon R5 is shooting in 8K.
Oh yeah, so look at the scale. So this is on a 1080 timeline, and if you look back here, you get your mouse over here, there, on the record. This is the now this is 50% scale.
Okay, hold on. So this is the FX9 right here at 50%. We're in a 1080p timeline currently, right?
Yeah.
And then if you look at the R5 here, it's at 26%
on a 1080. This is kind of crazy to 8K on a 1080 timeline. But now we're to the point now that everybody's starting to post 4K, and how nice would it be to have 8K to crop in for a tight shot on 4K, which we've been doing for a few years now with 4K doing a 1080 timeline. So now you have the ability with the R5 to do that and not think twice about it. And scenes like this are pretty straightforward. Now I know the R5 has a 15-minute overheat cycle. We did not incur that problem because we never rolled anything longer than 15 minutes for a B-roll camera.
Right. So, so basically, I mean, the Canon R5 is definitely a viable to use on a shoot.
Well, and like I said, it really gave the FX9 a run for its money. Now, obviously, there's some of these footage where it kind of vibrated a little bit because my mount, as you saw, wasn't really the greatest mount for it. But looking at the skin tone and then let's just go to the next clip real quick and we can look at the roll off here. So I think this big thing I want you guys to look at is above the M, right? So the FX9, the way the gamma curve is you're getting quicker to get that off. I don't know how to say that correctly.
It's not rolling off as nice.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, look at the highlight.
Like if you look here at the R5, you shot this at the same time. The light we didn't change the light or anything like that. If you look at the R5, it's just so much, the roll off is so much smoother as to where the FX9, it's just hard.
Yeah, wait, I already hear the crowd. Well, that's why you should shoot an S-Log. Just shoot an S-Log, shoot an S-Log. Yeah, S-Log, and then you got corrected and, out the door again. I'm just saying, out of the gate, we all know the Cinetone looks great out of the gate with the Sony. Standard gamma out of the Canon looks great, so shoot it out of the gate to deliver it. So I understand the S-Log argument that's happening right now with all our viewers, but hey, there you go, pixel pop that.
Yeah, just right out of the camera, it's just smoother.
Yeah.
It might have something to do with the 8K, more densely packed pixels probably help as well,
Yeah, but then if you look at her face in the FX9 and the R5, you got a little more contrast with the R5 compared to the FX9. A little bit smoother transition on the face.
Yeah, I'm gonna say
in that mid-tone area, but it couldn't do it in that smooth transition in the highlight area.
Yeah, I'm gonna say the R5 definitely is more contrasty and redder in the skin tones, as to where the FX9 just seems a little bit more I like the skin tone on the FX9 a little bit nice, out of the camera.
I do too. And honestly, if I cropped that out, you never would have seen the big highlight in the mesh.
The R5 has got stabilization built in, right?
Yeah.
And if you're using the R lenses, then you have, similar to the Panasonic GH5 where they have the shifting sensor, kind of technology. Sure. And then also there's the autofocus.
Yeah, the autofocus is on par with the FX9 for sure, and it's as good, if not better, but they're both very equal. But I think the big takeaway is how close the R5 is to the FX9. And you guys gotta remember, the FX9 has been out for a couple years, so that tech was developed 3 years ago.
Yeah, they're probably a year apart.
But like I said, right here, it's just, now it just becomes a personal preference of what the look you're really going for. But if somebody gave me an R5 tomorrow and go shoot B-roll, yeah.
Right. And what's cool is say, you're shooting something with an R5 and you're shooting an 8K and you're delivering 4K or 1080 or whatever. I mean, you could literally just shoot it wide and then crop out a little, you could it's like a 4-camera shoot, but it was only shot with 1 camera.
Exactly, and I think that's really something important. Just like a couple years, let's shoot 4K so we can, crop in the 1080. And now this will date myself, but I remember when 4K came out with the Red 1 back in the day, over 10 years ago, for 12 years, and people didn't know what to do with 4K. What is this? So many pixels. Yeah. But going on, let's go to the still photos now. So this was really interesting. So I literally lit this with strobe, shot the Mark III, and then I picked up the R5 and shot with the R5. Same f-stop, everything. Two things are different. My Mark III had a 24-105 lens, which is an older lens, and the R5 had a 24-105R lens on it. So it was a new lens on that body, the R5. And if you notice, the Mark III has a little bit more reddish to the skin tone, and the R5 almost looks like Sony color. So I think in the last 10 years, quietly Canon has been thinking, people always say our cameras shoot red, maybe we dial that back. And I think they've listened. There's a screw in there. Yeah, there's a screw right by the sensor that says red, and make it look like Sony. But if you look at the R5 compared to the Mark III, you can see that there's a little bit more vignetting happening with the Mark III around the edges of the frame, right? And then whatever the color tint of the lens is, because that's completely balanced 55K on each. So in the program, I got it as close as I can. I mean, could you rematch the skin tone? Yeah, probably. But that's pretty much equally as they kind of come out of the camera in the RAW. Now, if you also take another look, the R5 is sharper because of more pixels, newer lens. It's just sharper. But the Mark III color tone, I don't mind that at all. I don't mind. I think you were talking about this the other day. You get the R5, you're probably good for another 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, you've had this, the 5D Mark III for 10 years, and it's carried you for 10 years, and it still looks great.
Yeah.
But now if you get the R5, that's gonna might even take you a little longer. Just because it's a 50 megapixel, it's 8K video. I mean, you'll be able to throw that thing on a stabilizer and get some cool B-roll shots. Say you're doing like a real estate video. Oh my God. Like you just fucking walk.
And if you think about me replacing my Mark III, it shoots video at 1080. So by the time I replace my R5, we're gonna be at 16K in 10 years.
Yeah, I wanna actually do something here with these photos. Scale, so we're gonna scale it up. Okay, so that's the 5D Mark III, right?
Yeah.
So let's go all the way to 100%. All right, and then, so it looks pretty clear, right? That's 100%. So let's see how far we can go until it starts to look not that great. Oh my God, I can see the hairs on her chinny chin chin. Probably will hate that. So I would probably say around there. It's like 320% right now. Probably like right there. 262, right?
262,
So this is the Mark III.
Oh, wow, okay.
All right. So now I'll get rid of that, and now let's go with the R5. So this is at 18% for the R5. 18%. The other one was like, what, 25%?
Yeah.
All right. So now we're at 18. Let's go all the way to 100. That's 101. All right.
Looks like my focus must be on her eyes.
Yeah. All right, look at those eyes, right?
Yeah.
So that's 101%, right? Look how crystal clear those eyes are. All right, so now let's go up higher. Let's go to where was that? The other one, 262.
Dang, dude.
So now, whoa. Right, so look at that eye, right? Still super clear. Let's go farther. All right, that's 400. Oh, look at those teeth, oh my gosh.
Oh, she does work at a dental place.
Right. So where are we at here? That's 427. Probably gotta go down a little bit there. So now we're at like 388. It's still super clear. That's a headshot and we just zoomed into the eye.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable how much pixels the R5 have in it.
So my closing thoughts are this. The Sony FX9 is a great all-around camera. I mean, it has the audio, it has great video, beefy codecs, all that kind of stuff. Great autofocus. And then there's the R5, which, it doesn't have like great audio out the gate, but it has so many other things. And like, let's say, you want to take some, photos. I mean, you could crop in for days on those photos. Say you're doing like a cool hyperlapse or time lapse, like you could really like zoom in on something and then zoom back out. And then I'm gonna have to say that, with the 8K, all those tightly packed pixels and stuff, I mean, it just makes the highlights and everything roll off nice and smooth.
Yeah, however that science is, it's doing it. I mean, I still think it has a little bit of a digital feel to it as a look, but that's just me being a pixel pop and jealous of it, really. That's probably my jealous. I'm a little jelly of it, right? So at the end of the day, my final thought is, man, I'm gonna hopefully get this camera and start shooting more B-roll stuff with it, as well as short form stuff that I just need to grab a camera and do it, and just run separate audio and see how that rolls, because it's nice not carrying a huge ass FX9 around. That's pretty much what I'm kind of thinking of here. So that's it. That wraps it up. You want to close the channel down?
Make sure you guys like and subscribe to the channel, ring that notification bell, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
Thanks.